Hey, how's it going, everybody? Mark Lozano here, Christ Center Capital. Big announcement this week. I'll talk a little bit about that. If you're part of the newsletter, you're one of our paid subscribers, or were one of our paid subscribers, you probably know what I'm about to talk about. Excuse the big American flag behind me. I was feeling a little patriotic this morning, just from a couple things I was listening to and all that good stuff. But, so that was the background I chose. The big thing that we're going to talk about today, I'll take us over to the site, right? Is So just read the headline. Welcome to C3, a free site that ethically screens timely investments based on Christian values. I was in I had a little moment where I believe God was speaking to me. I think the Holy Spirit put something in the back of my head and I was trying to ignore it. And what happened was, I'll go through this whole story here. We were getting some amazing testimonies in over the past couple weeks. People divesting, people aligning their investment lives with their moral Christian lives, people divesting from really, really bad companies and starting to support some really good companies, and just some really amazing testimonies that, well, it was what C3 was built for. It was why this passion project of mine came to fruition, because I really wanted to spread the message of true moral investing, right? Because I really believe how you invest is how you can truly influence the culture. Voting's great. How you spend your money is great. What you do on a personal level by living by example, that's probably the best thing you can do. But what you do with your excess, which is what you do when you invest, is really, really how you can influence the culture. I truly believe that, and that's why I started Christ Center Capital. And these testimonies coming in were just amazing. One of the testimonies we had, I'll shout out to Push the Rock, David Walton, their president, good friend of mine, started using C3's services and everything, and he realized he was an active investor and just realized some of the ills that was going on in his portfolio, and he made some changes. Like, God willing, God bless him for doing that, and we had so many testimonials like that. I can read it if you can't read it right here. This is from David Walton. I'm an active investor, and C3 has opened my eyes and helped me view all my stock investments from a Christian perspective. As a result, I have sold a number of companies which don't align with my worldview. Thank you, C3. I highly recommend their newsletter. Thank you, David Walton. Thank you so much. And if you don't know what Push the Rock is, go check them out, because they're an awesome ministry, right? Now, our site is completely free. You got to sign up for the newsletter. If you are feeling called to help us promote and produce this content, you can click the support C3 button, right there on the homepage. Hit that support button. It would be greatly appreciated. Right now, to kind of get the bare minimum of what we want to do and how we want to promote this message and the amount of content we want to produce, we need about $4,000 a month to really do all the research, put it through the ethical screening tests, and then promote it so more people can view it, more people can get their hands and eyes on it, and hopefully start making some changes in their own investment worlds, right? And start influencing that culture in a positive way for Christ. So that's our goal. We're about a little over 12.5% there. You can give monthly, or you can give just a one-time financial pledge right there at the Support C3. We are a for-profit organization. The nonprofit sector is a little tricky for us because we do give financial information and we have a religious objective, so that makes it really tricky for us. So it's not tax deductible, but it will support our mission of promoting that true Christian investing, true moral investing. So I want to go right into now, since our reports are completely free. I got rid of the paywall. There's no more $7 paywall, right? You can view all of Christ Center Capital's reports for free, and we encourage you, sign up for that newsletter, share the reports, get this information out there. I'm going to take you to our latest report. Our latest report had some gems in it, all right? So the latest report we have here is we got quite a few assets here. Now, again, we got the support button there. We kind of tell you what the report is. If you're new to the channel, read that. If you're new to Christ Center Capital, go ahead and read that. But people who are, a little bit more veterans on C3, they're going to know what we're talking about. And I'll just go through the report really, really quickly. Again, go to ChristCenterCapital.com, get the report. You can read it and click on all the links and get the information, all that good stuff. But first thing we were talking about, the Series I savings bond. They have been the talk of the town lately. So like every YouTube influencer, every like financial advisor, every whatever, I've been talking about this because it's one of the only guarantees out there right now. This bond is offering, at the time that we posted it, a 9.62% return, guaranteed. That's music to a lot of investors' ears right now. Now, obviously, it's a bond, so there's limitations. You can only invest up to $10,000 per family member. You obviously get penalties and taxed if you don't leave it in as long as the guaranteed time. All that stuff. Again, go check it out. You can go on the treasurydirect.gov, I believe, is where you can buy a Series I bond. Moving right along, we got the BSV short-term bond. This is a Vanguard product. Not a huge fan of Vanguard products here at Christ Center Capital, but when we're talking about bonds, there's not too much moral ills that come from bonds. Now, obviously, it could depend on what administration's in power, what projects are underway, but most bond money goes to support infrastructure, and with the current state of U.S. infrastructure in a lot of areas being decayed and dilapidated, you can't really argue that the U.S. needs to spend money on infrastructure, right? So nothing that would make these short-term bonds fail the C3 ethical screening process, because again, most of the money just goes to infrastructure for the U.S. abroad, right? Broadly, not abroad. But next we have something that got a red rating. Oh, and by the way, if you don't know, like gold, that's the assets that have passed our C3 screening process with somewhat flying colors. They got the A+ score. If you're a purple asset, that means you passed, but you didn't really impress, right? You passed, C minus kind of territory. So they're not passing those ethical screening tests with flying colors, but nothing too egregious or nefarious is being done in those assets. Red companies, they're the companies we have in our reports that are highlighted red. Those are the companies that have failed our C3 ethical screening process. So going down, Gilead Sciences failed pretty right away through our process. They support the Equality Act. They're a partner of Out and Equal. They've done they're part of the Capital Pride Alliance. They're just they've participated in a lot of things that just continually bumped their score down to where we couldn't give them a passing score. Gilead Sciences is being talked about a lot because they have a couple drugs in the pipeline that people really think that are going to do well. Their main focus is on HIV. Again, I'm not going to spend too much time on any one of these. Newmont Corp, not perfect. They've done some third-degree abortion support through contributing to the Red Cross. Certain areas of the Red Cross, depending on where you're contributing to them, they do support abortion. But C3, we try to stay, if it's not very, very explicit, if it's not exactly, what's the word I'm looking for here? If it's not obvious, that they're supporting abortion, like they're just contributing to something that then may or may not use that money directly for abortion or for some other nefarious purpose or illicit purpose, then we're not really going to rate them too poorly. And for those who don't know, Newmont Corp, top tier gold producer. Let me put the glasses on here because I'm a little forgive the glare. But Newmont producer is a top tier gold producer. It's made our curation report a couple of times before. So Newmont Corp, not a new company for us that have made it into curation reports. And again, you make it into the curation report by being recommended by enough major players. So we're talking analysts, financial firms, stock pickers, influencers. If enough people are talking about you, that's how you get into our reports, right? Consolidated Edison. This is one of the gold companies. They're just focusing on their business. They're doing their business well. They're not really participating in a lot of the nonsense, the wokeness, the social or political issues. And those are usually companies that rate pretty well for us because it might surprise you. It probably won't surprise you. there's not a lot of Christian companies out there that are doing really, really well that are also publicly traded. I mean, there's literally about 4 or 5 of them. So when we find a company that's just focused on business and not participating in all the nonsense, those are companies that we usually give a gold rating to. So Consolidated Edison, one of the largest investor-owned energy companies in the U.S. And you can imagine why they're being recommended right now in this market that we have, and kind of this ongoing debate that we have among energy. So yeah, they're an energy company that's being recommended right now, moving right along. AMGN Inc., ticker AMGN. They got a purple rating. They are part of the National LGBT Chamber of Commerce, and they sponsored a couple pride parades, but they're not really supporting any LGBT legislation at the moment. That's why they got a purple score, and they're pretty good at what they do. They're human therapeutics, and like they're just one of the top tiers in that field, right? The Southern Company, again, another LGBT Chamber of Commerce member, not directly supporting any transgender legislation, so they're not getting the red score from us, and they don't really do anything else. They're not big supporters of bad politicians. They're not really engaged in human trafficking, child labor, abortion, or any of that stuff. And they are just doing a lot of cool things in the energy sector, right? So a lot of energy companies in this report this week, and you know why, like the way the market is right now, and I just talked about it when I was talking about Consolidated Edison. That's why a lot of energy companies kind of made it into the report this week, because again, these reports consist of what the market is talking about the most right now. Then we have Edward Life Science Corp. This is one, they would have been gold, but they have donated a lot to Red Cross and United Way, and a lot of the areas in which they donate to Red Cross and United Way specifically fund organizations like Planned Parenthood. So that's why they didn't get the gold rating. But again, we can't contribute motive, because maybe at the time of the donations that they were making to the Red Cross, it was really for disaster relief. That's so far in the weeds that we really can't know what the intent or purpose was for that. So that's why they're not a red company, but it's also why they're not a gold company either. Moving on, Altria Group. Most people know what that is. These are kind of the bad of the bad. These were the worst of the worst when it came to the report this month. One thing that's really interesting, so we got Altria Group, ticker MO, Hasbro, ticker HAS, Autozone Inc., ticker AZO. All of these are being recommended for different purposes by the market. I mean, Hasbro, they have a lot of room to capitalize on like movie play-in toys, and they just have a lot of room to capitalize right now. They're in a pretty favorable market if they can really if they can be wise with their business decisions. They're going to do really well. The problem with Hasbro is, and this is kind of weird, because they donated $200,000 to United Way Rhode Island, which directly funds Planned Parenthood. We can kind of attribute motive there, because everyone knows that United Way sector does contribute to Planned Parenthood. And we got to ask ourselves, like, Hasbro, right? Hasbro, your business model is selling toys to children. Why are you killing children? It'd be like NVIDIA or Intel saying they don't want people to go into the STEM fields for education. Why? But, who knows, right? That's kind of the crazy world we live in, right? AutoZone, with the chip shortage and car prices going a little bit crazy, even though the used car prices have gone down a little bit over the past, I'd say, 2-3 weeks, maybe a month. AutoZone is still kind of the king in that DIY auto space, to the point where analysts aren't even really fearful of Amazon approaching into that territory. So AutoZone is definitely king in that area. That's why they're being recommended, but they are a direct contributor to Planned Parenthood. And they're a partner of the Tennessee Thrives, which advocates against religious liberties and exemptions. So that's why AutoZone is getting the red rating. So, sorry, I wanted this video to be a little bit shorter. Went a little bit longer than I wanted to, but I wanted to just kind of make you guys aware that this is the kind of report that we're doing for free. We are doing for absolutely free. Christ Center Capital, this report, we're making it free for everyone, but it's not free to make. It's not free to produce. We really want to get the message out there. So this report, it's not free to make. It's not free to promote. Like, we need the help. So if you feel called, please click on that support C3 button. $1 a month, we'll take it. Whatever you can afford, we'll obviously take it so we can start really promoting this message. Also, sign up for the free newsletter. That's the best information right there. You get it every Monday and Thursday, and share it with as many people as possible. All right, share it with as many people as possible. With that said, I'll stop rambling. Thank you for listening. Go check out ChristCenterCapital.com, and God bless.